Hello everyone. Witam wszystkich. Jest mi bardzo miło, że dzisiaj mogę poprowadzić prezentację firmy SOCRadar. My name is Burak. I'm here with my colleague Azra, and this is our presentation called Negotiating with Cybercriminals: Lessons Learned from $100 million ransomware cases. Let's dig right in. So I want to start simple. We'll build our way up to the more complex attacks and more complex information. So here I want to show the state of ransomware in Poland. On the first graphic you'll see Poland has 4.3% of the whole pie of Europe continent. Seems like a small area of ransomware landscape, but believe me, I'll show you more details, and it's not that of a small. This is for the whole continent. And on the right-hand side, the blue color represents the ransomware attacks that specifically targeted Polish institutions. The white color represents the ransomware attacks that were affected by Polish institutions, but they are not the only target. There are multiple continents, and as you know, a lot of international companies have bases all over Europe, and some of them have bases and operations in Poland. This makes sense in that end. Other than that, majority of the cybersecurity attacks and ransomware incidents happen all over the world, and Poland was affected by 62% of them. And in the next slide, I'm going to explain how it correlates, and there will be more details about it. Most targeted industries in Poland, this doesn't come as a surprise, because these industries you see over here: manufacturing, information security, healthcare, finance and insurance. These industries, they usually have more to lose. That's why they become a target for a lot of ransomware groups. They work like a professional service group. They are not your everyday cyber criminals. They are very professional. They act like a company, and they know what they're targeting very well. Going forward, this is from our research and data from all the ransomware attacks we saw in Poland. It will show you the payment ratio, meaning when a ransomware attacks a company, they are usually for the financial gain, meaning when they attack and actually get access to the servers or access to your databases, your information, they want to extort that and receive money from you just to get your money, data back to your systems. So here it shows the majority of the Polish institutions chose not to pay, or they were just unaware that they were already attacked, or their information is already in the dark web forums. Going forward, so here there's interesting information, meaning there are 64 threat actors according to our databases and network targeting Polish institutions, 16 of them being global ransomware groups. You probably know some of the names over here. We have Conti, Lockbit, and names like Rebel. As you know, Rebel was disbanded back in 2022 after the Russian-Ukraine war conflict and the situation over there. Next up, well, this is where it gets interesting. So a lot of people think Poland's cyber landscape is not growing. There's not much of a threat over here. When you compare all the data, Poland is number 6 in the whole Europe continent, including the names as goes first United Kingdom, then comes Germany, France, Spain, Netherlands, and Poland with 213 ransomware attacks over the past few years. This should tell you that actually Polish institutions are not as safe as they think they are. Next up, I want to give actually a couple of examples that happen in the country that are Polish-based or have operations in Poland. First attack is from 4 years ago. It's the Lotus Group. It's an oil company. It was a breach through a phishing campaign, meaning it can be a social media phishing account, it can be an email or a domain name, and it could target your employees in the company, and through that they can access the systems and cause damage. In this scenario, it caused disruption of the system, and that means financial loss for the organization. Next up, we have, this is a very well-known ransomware attack back in 2021, Warsaw Stock Exchange ransomware attack. So when you think about exchange, we all know how it works. Time is literally money here. Every second there is no operation, the institute loses money, and also that also means potential data breach of the organization. And in this case, it was happened through a malware encrypted by the system, and there was a temporary halt in the operations, and that caused financial loss for the institution. Next up, this is a very well-known ransomware attack. As far as I know, this is the largest private bank in Poland, and this was attacked not through directly to the bank's systems, but they are big companies like this, they use third-party companies, like they work with different organizations. The vulnerability and the security breach from them caused them to access the bank database and caused temporary halt in the operations, meaning financial loss and disruption of the operations. This is also very important. Polish Health Ministry ransomware attack back in 2021. This is really important. Last two ones that I'm going to share is because these are government institutes. People, citizens of the country, they trust with their information with these government institutions. But when they receive such an attack, their patient information can be exposed, and that means data breach for the whole organization and all the country's information, and the people who are registered in the system. Their data can be lost. But you think that the personal information does not matter that much, but it does. Email address, name, email, phone numbers, they don't mean that much. They can be found pretty much anywhere right now. But imagine hackers have access to your physical address. You probably wouldn't want people to know where you actually live, right? So does the hackers think that way. Last but not least, this was last year, a ransomware attack to the Polish railway system. This was through a phishing email, or we assume that it was from a vulnerability of a software. That's also important because companies, institutions, they use software, right? And the software can have vulnerabilities, and if you're not patching it, or if you're not updating it, if you're not using the software very good, it might mean that you're a target. You can be a target, and that can be exploited by threat actors. That's it for the ransomware attacks. Now I want to go in more into what ransomware attacks are, what do they mean for the community, and what's actually what's happening in the world right now. So ransomware, when it first started, it wasn't only for financial gain for the threat actors, but it was more used, as we see from the previous attacks, it was more to disrupt targeted companies, institutions, operations, so that they can cause damage to organization. But now, once they breach a system and they can extract data from it, they can sell it, or they can threaten the company that will expose the information publicly on the dark web forums if they don't pay the ransom. On this picture, you'll see there's a lot of money figure over here. So the government institutions such as FBI, Interpol, they're actively searching for ransomware groups, and they're willing to pay a lot of money for any kind of information that will lead to the arrest or apprehending of any ransomware group member, criminal, especially the heads of it. And this is just to show you how important the industry is right now. Ransomware, it became a business. We call it ransomware as a business now, and last year the market value for the whole ransomware attack that was a payout is over $1 billion, and now we can safely say that ransomware is actually a multi-billion-dollar industry currently. And they treat it as such. They are like a company. They operate like another company. I'm going to explain in the next slide how they work and why it's important for everyone to know. Okay, this is from Conti ransomware group. This is, for about 2 years, they stormed the internet. They attacked more than 1,000 institutions. And this actually shows you what kind of construction and infrastructure they have inside the organization. Meaning they just work just like any other company, just like us. They hire people, of course, back in the shadows. And the important part here is that the data analysts and business analysts, they find the right companies to attack for a group to take action on, and this is how they work. They work exactly like a professional organization, then they expect to be treated as such. Next one. So to understand ransomware, you have to understand the attack vectors. Usually what we see in the dark web forums that we search for through our platform, we see that usually it happens through phishing campaigns or software vulnerabilities that are exposed on the internet, and the dark web threat actors are taking advantage of it. So if you don't understand the threat vectors, you'll not understand ransomware. This is just a short screenshot of the conversation of a ransomware attack, and they usually explain, after they breach a system, they explain to you how they got in and what needs to be done, whether it's like a consulting company after they get the money back. But that's usually how it works. Now I'll get the microphone back to my colleague Azra. Please take the stage. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Burak. So today here we came with the mission to pass these lessons that one very experienced ransomware negotiator, actually our CEO and co-founder of the company we work in, SOCRadar Cyber Intelligence, has been part of and learned and wanted us to pass these to you as a playbook. When there is any case of ransomware, you can have this on the site and guide you throughout the process. We start with the first lesson, you'll never walk alone, or actually, let's say, don't ever walk alone. It's not the time to be a hero in these cases. When you get a ransom demand, it's a time where you need to gather a crisis management team to work with you. You need to have everything handled on the IT side of things, on the legal side, but also on the communication. So while you're negotiating with the ransomware group, you need to also have business continuity, right? So you need to have everything in place. If you don't gather this team, the chances are that you'll only get a higher risk. Burak. Now, when we say sit back here, it doesn't mean that you just sit back and wait for everything to pass. Of course, you need to have some cybersecurity professionals to conduct a thorough analysis of your whole system to make sure that the ransomware group doesn't have access to your system anymore. Because it will be even more critical for you if they have access, because the ransom that they have demanded first, or the data that they got first, maybe would have been a very low amount, but later on it can rise very high. You have here, it's a little bit too low, maybe you cannot read it, but there's a similar case for this one. The important thing that you need to do is, of course, to make sure the channel of communication you're using is also protected. Because if that's not protected, then every strategy you're using, every strategy you're planning on doing, or how you're going to work with the cybersecurity professionals doing these analyses will actually go to vain. For the third part, mastering the art of ransomware negotiation. Like, this is a negotiation. Of course, you have to be good at this. You have to prepare some strategies before these things happen, because once you get the ransomware demand, you sometimes may find your hand tied and don't know really what to do. But the important thing to know here is that this is a game. And the ransomware group, the cyber criminal who is in front of you, is actually here to win. And for them, winning doesn't mean leaking the data. It means the payout, right? Getting some profit from there. Similarly for you, of course, your target is to protect the data of the company, but you also need to make sure you have a low pay out of this. So you're going to pay in a minimum amount. Now, the important thing here is that you set your limits before. You set the limits at the beginning. But of course, you shouldn't show your cards in a very early stage, because that's a very rookie mistake. You should be careful and play maybe the helpless negotiator, saying that you need to get permission from your executive and so on. So the other part, like I said, you need to be careful when you're negotiating at the first stage, trying to say that you need permission for the payment and everything. So of course, lesson 4 would be, don't show your executive badge. Even if you're an executive in this negotiation, you need to be careful and play the role of an IT employee or a mid-level manager, so that you can buy that time by playing that helpless negotiator. Now, in lesson 5, we put something really important, that these ransomware groups, they already have access to your data. They know how much you can pay. They know your profit. They know your revenue. They know almost everything that you have. So playing cards like we're in a financial crisis, or I don't know, playing some personal, making some personal excuses, I have a sick relative or I have health issues or something like that, doesn't really play a good role here. You're actually insulting the person in front of you, because like my colleague said, these people are professionals. If you try to if you try to use these classical excuses, it doesn't really do any good for you. The most important thing, when a ransomware group comes to you, they target you, they demand a ransom, they know why they're doing this, but you need to know why they're attacking you. You need to know the root why they are in this. Although it is known, it is said that ransomware groups demand from 1% to 4% of the company's revenue, it's still important for you. Even this amount is very low or very large, it doesn't matter. You need to ask them to break this down for you. This will be very helpful for you in the next lesson that we have, the counter offer that you will make to them. So once you know this breakdown, once you have this breakdown in your hand, why they're demanding this amount, why they're targeting you, then you can make a counter offer that's something logical, acceptable, and plausible. Because otherwise, the offer that you're going to give to this ransomware group, if it's too low, they will look at this like a very unlogical bargain, and of course, try to rush things to get even more from you. The other important thing when you're making the counter offer is that you're staying in a calm state. Because if you're rushing things on your end, if you're showing some urgency, then you're actually telling them to focus on you and to make you the most important, target and the list. The other thing is to extend the negotiation dance, as we say here. But of course, don't try to extend it with classical excuses, like we said earlier. Try to extend it by trying to answer every question they have in a very, normal and calm manner. But try to get them to not make you the most priority, because they're working simultaneously in other attacks at the same time. If you're only answering in a calm way and trying to cooperate with them, trying to make them trust you, then of course you have the chance to extend this process. The power of politeness, nothing to say there, actually, it's very clear. These people are professionals and they need to be treated as professionals. Once you show unpoliteness, it's the end for you because they will not cooperate. Another very important thing I would have to say, threat actors often tend to threaten companies, saying that they will show this case to public authorities, they will try to put you into compliance. If you use this card first, before them, you're actually taking a very strong weapon from their hands. So make sure to, even if you are hesitant to do this, make sure to use this in conversations you are talking with them to say that you have actually talked with the authorities. Yes. Important thing. This is something that we don't even need to talk about. You've seen movies with ransom, with kidnapping. Whenever there is a case like this, you ask for proof. Is this really someone? Is this really your data? Is this really something that you need to care about? So make sure to ask for a list of files they have gotten from your system. Ask for them to be decrypted, select a few of them, and be careful with the large files. They need to be decrypted in detail. If there is some small mistake in this decryption, know that this is your red flag. Yes. It's very important, as I said before, these threat actors work simultaneously in different attacks at the same time. So it's really important for you to make sure and get a deal done as fast as possible. But of course, try to do this in a calm way. If you can offer them a logical and acceptable offer at the beginning, something that's low for you, they will try to get this and be done with it. But if you are leaving this, if you're extending the process too much, then the issue here could be that they can get information about your insurance policy. And of course, once they know this, they will never accept something lower than that. And the last one, of course, once you seal the deal, you need to make sure they really deleted this information, because you cannot trust a threat actor, of course. You need to get some video recording maybe from them that they have deleted everything, but never believe it, never trust it. You need to stay vigilant all the time and try to invest in your cybersecurity measures, try to use proactive approaches for the future, and know that this could happen anytime in the future. Yes.
All right, we have something apart from ransomware. I want to show something really quick over here, since we are running out of time. So this is the cyber threat landscape of Poland. As you can see over here, we have detected 2,015 phishing domains, 1,585 stealer logs. We have active 64 threat actors, and one important thing over here is that dark web forum mentioned, meaning that threat actors are chatting about Polish institutions, about attacking them, or they're just already selling or sharing the data of Polish institutions. One important part is that here, you've got to make sure that you have access to this kind of dark web monitoring for organizations. So this is going to allow you to check if your organization is already being mentioned on the dark web. And if you want to make sure that your organization is safe, or there's no dark web issues over here, we have a free dark web report. You can scan this QR code free of charge. There's no string attached, just domain name, write it down, and also just email address. You can check if your organization is already mentioned on the dark web. Going up, SOCRadar's partner program, SOCRadar is a big company right now, and we have over 350 partners in over 110 countries. This is thanks to our partners, is a big part of our success. Meaning that we are a partner-first company. We take care of our own. We invite Polish companies to come work with us, and please we'll be welcome you in our stand later on. As a part of our product-led growth strategy, we believe in our products. So meaning that we give it back to the community with a free version of our platform. More than 25,000 people are using our services, and one good thing about it is that the free access is for 1 year. There is no other vendor that provides such a free service back to the community. So if you want to apply for it, here's your chance with the QR code. Last but not the least, today at 2 p.m. we are giving away AirPods Pro at our demo session. We welcome everyone to our stand. Thank you very much for listening today. And next up, please don't take your seats down, because next up is coming from our partner, Intelligent IT Distribution. We'll be speaking right after this one. I zapraszam wszystkich na nasze stanowisko. Dziękujemy bardzo.
Thank you very much.